This is a demo of the theme styling tool for Concrete 5. One of the main things we love about Concrete 5 is the ability to easily make custom themes for it. There are also lots of custom themes and pre-built themes on the marketplace, as well as a fairly flexible initial theme called Elemental. The issue comes though is when you take a pre-built site or a theme that someone else has built and you are asked to make a few changes to it, some styling tweaks, some fixes, that sort of thing. And it can be difficult to decide, well, do you clone the theme and make a new theme? Do you start editing the files for the theme, the CSS, at the risk of that being overwritten if any updates are pushed? So we developed a tool to make injecting some CSS into a pre-built theme or any theme on your site really easy. So if we have a look at just say the normal built-in theme, if we want to customize the styles, we can go to the design panel here. We can go to customize, and we've got different styling controls here. And this comes down to whether or not the developer of the theme has made these things editable or not. At the bottom of the theme, we often have a custom CSS option, and we can put in some CSS like this. We can drop that in there and make CSS changes, and that's fine. The problem comes is that we've got to click through about 7 or 8 different steps to make a change. So if we change this here to blue, we have to hit save, we have to save the changes, apply it, and if we want to go back and make that change again, we need to go back into here, design, customize, scroll to the bottom, make the change there, hit save, apply. We can see that's pretty laborious. So what the tool that we've developed does is install a toolbar button up the top here that you'll see. Hitting this button pops up a little editing window. And what we can do now is we can put that alongside our site and start to inject some CSS. So let's say we want to target the header here, the title. We can have a quick look at the CSS, paste some in here, and let's just change that to red. And as soon as I hit save, and I can do a command or a control S, or hit this button here, it applies that directly to the page. And that means there's no backwards and forwards. We can just go like that, and it'll apply it directly as so. Straight away we've got control. We've also got the ability to leave that window open. You can see I've tucked that there. We can actually navigate around the site, leave that open, and let's pick something on the services page. Let's see if I can target the color of these icons here. We've got a FA. We might need to put an import in there just for, there we go. So yeah, you need to make sure that your specificity of your CSS is correct, but that's normal. You just need to just take care that what you're writing isn't also too aggressive either. You don't want to start touching the interface and doing things like this where you start impacting everything on the site. You don't want that to happen. So it's normal common sense, but that's it. It's a CSS tool and allows you to inject that. Just quickly, we've got some configuration options for this. So if we look in the dashboard, we've got the ability to turn that button off. So you can install the tool, make your changes, and then turn that off if you don't want someone, an editor, from actually adjusting that CSS. They might be tempted to make their own changes. You can turn that off there. You can also just turn it off completely if you want to see what it was like before the CSS was injected without deleting it. And then we've got an option here to store the CSS in 2 different places. So we've got one which is by default it stores in Concrete 5's configuration, but we've also got the option here, and we can change backwards and forwards to store it in application CSS, additional CSS. And you might be wondering, well, why would you do that? Well, if you store it here, you can also edit it in any editor that you use, so PHP Storm or Sublime or whatever you use, you can go and edit that file directly with your own CSS editing tools as opposed to using the pop-up tool. The reason why that's not there by default is because you need to make sure that you've got the right permissions on that folder. But as long as you do, you can write to that folder. And finally, if you've got some fairly heavy server-side caching of your resources like CSS files, you can turn this option on to effectively turn on a cache buster. So while you're developing, while you're styling, it won't cache that file. And that's it. So we use this tool ourselves, especially on sites where we're asked to take an existing site that we haven't built and then asked to make some fixes or changes, and we don't want to run the risk of making changes that then get overwritten by someone else. We can just inject some extra CSS, tidy things up, and it's a very quick way to use that. So that's the demo. If there's any questions, please let me know. Cheers.